It amounts to a kind of...
To say that the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day has a lot going on would be an understatement. We got at least half a dozen new villains, MJ's most hated boyfriend Paul, the Spider-Man Punisher team-up, and a street-level Spidey, which is what fans have been craving ever since Tom Holland was cast as Spider-Man. Brand New Day will be both a continuation and a soft reboot of MCU Spider-Man, and that's evident from the promo material. This trailer was jam-packed with references to the comics, other MCU properties, and even a couple of things from Sony's Spider-Verse, which you'll understand by the end of this video. Today, we're looking at 8 insane Spider-Man Brand New Day theories that are almost confirmed. So, spoiler warning for July, and without further ado, let's get right to it. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, and introduction of mutants. This one might actually backfire on us if it turns out that she's playing someone else, but given the fact that Marvel Studios is sticking with Michelle Jones Watson as their version of MJ, we think it's safe to say that Sadie Sink, who has the natural hair color of Mary Jane from the comics, will be playing a different redhead instead. Fan theories have been running rampant about her being Jean Grey for the longest time, and the Brand New Day trailer pretty much confirms it. In the trailer, there's a moment where we see Spidey stop a tank, and there's a woman inside who looks like she's completely out of it. It's clear that she's being controlled by something or someone, especially after her trance-like state is transferred to 2 other characters in Spidey's vicinity. Jean Grey is one of the strongest mutants in the Marvelverse because she has the power to not only control objects with telekinesis, but she's also a telepath who's at the level of, if not stronger than, Professor X. And considering we see Spidey talking to Trammell Tillman's character Bill in the trailer, suggesting a rapport between them, it looks like Jean is on the run from the Department of Damage Control while Spider-Man is working alongside them. The Department of Damage Control has been a big part of MCU Spidey's life since the first film, because their actions essentially birthed Michael Keaton's Vulture. And that's not the only reason we think Jean Grey is coming. There are 2 shots from the trailer that focus on a person wearing green clothing. One where this person is tied to a chair, and another where they're wearing a hoodie inside a room. Everyone knows that green and yellow are Jean's costume colors, and the MCU has a thing for adapting comic-accurate costumes in whatever way they can. Plus, Sadie Sink's introduction will serve as the launching pad for MCU's version of mutants and the X-Men, which has been coming for a while, and the fact that the trailer keeps telling us Peter's genes are mutating are another hint for their arrival. So, our first insane theory is a 2-punch combo, and we have our fingers crossed that we're right about it.
What is happening to me?
Spider-Man becomes Man-Spider. The reason Spider-Man's mutation is both cool and terrifying is because it results in him becoming the most powerful and at the same time disgusting version of himself, the Man-Spider. Introduced in the iconic Spider-Man the Animated Series, Man-Spider was the final stage of Spidey's initial genetic mutation because, as the Brand New Day trailer tells us, spiders don't exactly live one life. They live 3 lives, and each cycle is like a rebirth. Based on the fact that Peter once woke up in a cocoon of webbing in the trailer and seems to have developed organic webbing, it's clear to us that his transformation into Man-Spider has already begun. And by the end of the trailer, that transformation becomes even more evident, because his eyes turn black and his webbing becomes so strong that it can break swords with a bit of stretching. Brand New Day will see Peter struggling with his humanity in more ways than one, because ever since people forgot he's Spider-Man at the end of No Way Home, he seems to have dedicated himself to solely operating as Spider-Man. He's ignoring Peter Parker the human and focusing fully on Spider-Man the hero, to the point that he's stalking his old best friend and girlfriend, hoping for a chance to spring their past on them and get them back. While we understand Peter's position, we can't deny how creepy and stalkerish it all feels. And that's why we think that his transformation from Spider-Man to Man-Spider will be more than just about mutations. His personal life is non-existent, and it will represent a sort of rock bottom for him, where he has more power and limbs than ever before. but he's also completely alone and not even human anymore. This is the kind of Spider-Man movie we've been waiting for like a decade now. So we're glad the MCU is taking the risk of disfiguring the new Iron Man to tell a compelling story. But before Spidey becomes Man-Spider, we'll get to see a bunch of cool things, including our most awaited team-up of all, which is Daredevil Crossover and Team-Up. In the trailer, when Spidey starts mutating and breaks the sword of one of those ninjas in red, we couldn't contain our excitement. Not because of what's happening to Peter, but because of who those guys are. That's the Hand, coming at you from Hell's Kitchen. And you know what that means, right? We're most likely getting a Spider-Man Daredevil team-up in Brand New Day, which is going to be beyond awesome. We've already got John Barenthal's Punisher in the movie, and him and Spidey have a big bro, little bro dynamic that's just precious. While Peter acts as Frank's morality, Frank acts as Peter's practicality, because he might be off his rocker, but he actually knows that being a hero doesn't mean you get to keep your hands clean all the time, or that you can control all the variables that aren't in your control. Peter already tried doing it once in No Way Home and failed spectacularly. It would make sense that that tenacity of his, which is a core part of his personality, persists into Brand New Day, which would also explain why he keeps getting in trouble 4 years later. He just can't help himself from trying to help everyone, and that'll come back to bite him in the butt, most likely with his own Man-Spider face. But the Daredevil crossover is something we're really looking forward to, because Punisher isn't the only guy from that series to make it to the big screen. In the shot where Peter gets the key to the city, he's being facilitated by Sheila Rivera, who is a part of Daredevil's Born Again storyline. We'll get to her in the next section, but the fact that this many Daredevil characters are showing up tells us that he will too. And it'll be a little heartbreaking. That's because Matt Murdock represented Peter Parker in No Way Home, and he knows that Peter's Spider-Man. When he does show up to help him deal with the Hand, he'll know Spider-Man, but he won't remember the kid he got out of trouble. And that will just add to all the emotional weight Peter's going to be carrying around in this movie. Tombstone replaces Kingpin. Speaking of Daredevil and Sheila Rivera, the latter is a government official who gets caught up in Kingpin's corruption scandal from Daredevil Born Again. She's Mayor Fisk's assistant, but she also isn't part of his criminal enterprise, which means that when Fisk is eventually ousted from office, given that the people are already turning against him, Sheila's prediction will come true. She was there before him, and she stayed there after him, long enough to put the key to the city in Spider-Man's hands. But this begs the question, if Daredevil finally defeats Kingpin and puts him behind bars, who takes Kingpin's place? That's how power vacuums work, after all. When one mob boss dies, another takes his place. Enter Tombstone, who's going to be played by Marvin Jones III. Tombstone starts his career as an enforcer for the mob in the comics, but rises through the ranks and becomes a boss himself. It looks like the movie's going to put him in the Kingpin spot after Fisk is imprisoned for his many crimes. And to be honest, we just want to see him and Spider-Man duke it out in a recreation of their fight from Spectacular Spider-Man issue 137. Moreover, if Tombstone takes Fisk's place, then he can also be behind Scorpion's escape from jail, possibly the deployment of the Hand, and many other things we'll be seeing in this film. Hulk remembers. Another important part of the trailer is the return of Bruce Banner to his human form, because, turns out, he's perfected the device he was working on in She-Hulk Attorney at Law. The bracelet we see him wearing when Peter approaches him in the trailer is keeping his gamma radiation at bay and allowing him to be what he always wanted to be, a professor at MIT. Pete goes to Bruce because he's the only man who knows mutation like the one he's going through. And the moment when Bruce asks him if they know each other had us grabbing our seats to fling them at the wall. That's the first time anyone has even remotely hinted at recalling who Peter is. And the reason we think that's the case is because we know at their core, Bruce Banner and the Hulk are two separate entities. When Bruce asks Peter that, it might just be the Hulk talking through him. And if we see the big guy in Brand New Day, we'll finally have a character who remembers Peter Parker is Spider-Man. As for Puny Banner, he seems to be fulfilling the Kurt Connors role in Brand New Day, because in the animated series and most other adaptations of Spider-Man, Connors is the one who scans Spider-Man's body and points out any anomalies within it. Also, Spidey doesn't become Man-Spider in the animated series until Connors gives him the cure that ends up accelerating his mutation. So, it's possible Bruce might inadvertently end up doing the same. It's wise for the MCU not to include Kurt in their adaptation, because it would be too many appearances for the same character. Plus, we get to see Hulk becoming super relevant once again. Quaku Anuni, aka the first Spider-Man. Everyone's been wondering what Keith David's role is going to be in Brand New Day, but we think we have the answer. When we heard that dialogue about the 3 life cycles of a spider from the trailer, we knew that wasn't any established Marvel character, and upon re-listening to it a few times, it did sound like Keith David to us. The only reason his character would have such a deep knowledge about the life cycle of spiders and what it represents physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually is if he's gone through something similar himself. And if that's the case, then Keith could be playing Quaku Anuni, aka the first ever Spider-Man. Quaku is a trickster god from West Africa whom the Ashanti tribe is intimately familiar with. They say he's the first Spider-Man who used his power as a spider totem to traverse their entire continent. In the comics, Anuni is the overseer of every new spider totem that's created, and this means that Peter's transformation into Man-Spider isn't purely genetic. It involves an element of fate as well, and there's also another possibility as to who David's playing in the film. If he isn't playing Quaku Anuni, then he's most likely Ezekiel Sims, who's also a spider totem and who acts as Peter's mentor and guide during that entire arc where the Spider-Verse is introduced. This is how the live-action Spidey films might collide with the animated ones, because it's clear to us that the Spider-Verse is coming. And while we think Ezekiel Sims is the more probable option for Keith's character, we hope it's Quaku selfishly. Either way, we do expect references to the first Spider-Man being made in Brand New Day. If Keith is Sims, then we hope he gets to deliver that iconic piece of dialogue about the $5 million question and whether Peter Spider gave him powers after irradiation, or if he was always going to do that, but was killed by the radiation. Web of Life and Key to the Multiverse. Speaking of spider totems, we'll keep this one short and sweet because you guys must have figured out by now what that means. The Web of Life and Destiny is coming to the MCU, and the Spider-Verse crossovers are about to become as real as the word day in this film's title. Spider-Man will realize that he isn't just a mutated freak. He was handpicked by literal gods to be their avatar, and the reason this is important is because Marvel Studios has openly admitted that they're giving Tom Holland the Robert Downey Jr. role. That's what we meant when we said he's the new Iron Man, because he's going to be the central character moving forward. And since the Web of Life extends across the multiverse, we will finally have a way to traverse it, protect it, and answer the incoming threat that is Doctor Doom. Earth's technology still isn't advanced enough to open multiversal portals, yet Earth is where most of our heroes are. Spider-Man Brand New Day will give Earth's heroes a new portal onto that stage, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Symbiote post-credit scene introduction. And last but not least, though we expect Spidey to get his mutation problems under control, we don't expect him to get rid of them entirely. Peter will probably struggle with accepting his greater multiversal role for a hot minute, and that's where the post-credit scene from No Way Home might connect to the post-credit scene from Brand New Day, because one of the things that could end up stabilizing his mutation is the symbiote. This would be a perfect way into Secret Wars, because that's where the black suit was introduced originally, and the symbiotes are also connected to the Web of Life. Technically, they're counterparts to one another and fight each other in epic cosmic battles, but they can also coexist if an understanding is reached between them. Brand New Day will set up Black Suit Spidey for the future, and once again, we can't wait to see it. But as for this theory video, that's all we've got for you guys. So, let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Spider-Man content. And we'll see you guys real soon with yet another video. Until then, stay safe, and if you're randomly waking up at web cocoons, go see your local Bruce Banner today.